Welcome to the Green and Golden Boys Packers podcast.
Coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I'm Charles.
And I'm Marcus. And this is a Packers podcast for fans living inside enemy territory.
This is the new sound for the new era. Well, Marcus, this might be the new sound of the new era, but the sound we heard in Lambeau last week were a bunch of boos. That was an ass kicking, to put it lightly.
Yeah, to put it lightly, that was a manhandling, as Matt LaFleur put it. And then just since you brought it up, where do we stand on booing at home? I mean, if it's an Aaron Rodgers team that's got projections to be a playoff team or a number one seed like the last couple of years, I'm fine with it. But I'm not sure how much I can condone booing the youngest team in the NFL and a Jordan Love led team, brand new starter. That made me feel a little bit bad because it's like, man, come on, they need us to support them right now. They don't need us to tell them that they suck, even when they do.
And obviously everyone was booing for their own reasons. If you could poll the people that were booing, and if they all told me, well, those play calls were questionable, and that's why I'm booing, I can get behind it. If they're booing our quarterback, then I can't. I mean, Marcus, last December with a serviceable David Bakhtiari and John Runyon, we couldn't stop the rush. And without those two guys and a rookie quarterback, our game plan going into that game appeared to be dropping back and passing. Like, I don't know. It just seemed to be like a flawed concept to start with. And man, it was a measuring stick game, and the Packers are well short of where the Lions are. So it's just questionable. It was just questionable.
Yeah,
to me.
We can't differentiate between boos. We don't know why they're booing. It's overall, it's like, hey, you playing crappy. What the hell's going on? But yeah, play calling. I don't know how you start that game with 7 straight passes, 7 straight dropbacks too. Like, and then you end the game having only rushed the ball for 27 yards, and it's questionable.
In their defense, that game got out of hand quick. Like, running the ball, running the ball became not as good of an option after, 8 offensive plays. We were down by 14 points.
Well, sure, but then you kind of go back to, well, why did you start the game throwing the ball 7 straight times? Why don't you try to implement the balance right away? And that's been, I think, the criticism from Matt LaFleur with Aaron Jones as his number one rusher, his whole tenure is like, I gotta get Aaron Jones involved more. It's like, well, then why don't you? And in this game, I get it. He's coming off a hamstring injury. You want to keep him on a pitch count, but maybe you try to get him the ball right away. And if things aren't going your way, then maybe it's like, okay, well, we need to ease off on him, and we need to, this game's out of hand, or we need to, worry more about his health than anything else. But yeah, I don't get it. I think the play calling was pretty poor in the first half.
Go ahead. Did the interception change Matt LaFleur's play calls, do you think? Like, were those first 3 plays gonna be the first 3 plays, or the fact that we got the ball on the 30-yard line change, do you think, kind of his approach?
It's a good question. I can't imagine it changed it much. I understand that you probably scheme up your first or second drive thinking you're going to get at the ball at the 20 or the 25, but even then, like, I still don't like the calls,
Right.
Because, it's easy to say in hindsight because we saw it unfold, but that's kind of what you're inviting to happen, especially when you have a team like the Lions who are coming off a 7-sack week, and
right.
That the answer, especially when you're down your 2 best offensive pass blockers, is to sit there and drop back and ask Royce Newman to stop Aiden Hutchinson. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get bull rush, and that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah. And to your point about not giving the ball to Jones, like I was fairly distracted leading up to the game, so I didn't get the opportunity to see who was in, who was out. I actually heard the David Bakhtiari news quite late, that he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So I was like, all right. It was like a drive or two in. I'm like, is Aaron Jones playing? I was trying to Google it. Is Christian Watson playing? I was trying to Google it, and they both said they were in, but I didn't actually see him on the field. I'm like, what's going on here? So the fact that you didn't see some of our best players, specifically Aaron Jones, right away, and I wasn't sure if they were playing or not, it's just like a huge red flag, right? To like, all right, what are we trying to do here? And clearly, I don't know. First of all, let's give the Lions some credit. They were a better team.
Oh yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So like the play calling and all this stuff just compounded the issue, but it's good for them. But I don't know. It was just a very frustrating Thursday evening to watch.
Yeah, and to your point, I saw that news like the maybe 2 hours before kickoff that Bakhtiari was on the injured reserve, and I was like, oh man, all right. So and then I think we found out too that he had surgery, a couple days before that or a day before that, and it's just like, man, what is going on? So here you got this guy with a massive cap hit who hasn't been able to play very much over the last 2 years, and you're just kind of wondering what's going to go on. Is he going to be back? If this team makes the playoffs, or is he just essentially dead weight at this point? But yeah, that was a bummer, and I don't know. It's tough, and the pass blocking thing. I want to go back to just because. I think we are a better pass blocking unit than a run blocking unit, but anybody who knows anything about offensive line play will know that it's tougher to sustain pass blocking over the course of a game than it is run blocking, because pass blocking you're more you have an opportunity to get pushed back into the pocket, pushed into the quarterback. You're sustaining that play for a lot longer, so it's just more tiresome and it's harder on your body. And again, to the play calling, I don't know why we didn't try to get our old line into a rhythm right away by running a couple of run plays. Just get them, knock the rust off, maybe get the Lions back on their heels a little bit. But we didn't do any of that, and again, it was a shellacking from beginning to end. We thought maybe at the end there had an opportunity to come back and make the game interesting.
But even there, back to play calling, when we kind of had that glimmer of hope, that's when we had that lateral pass that was a fumble that lost us like 7 yards.
Right.
Like how, and again, execution is probably a big part of it. Like we can't put it all on the floor, but I'm like, how is that our play call when we have like I personally think the Lions just took their foot off the gas a little bit. I don't think. I was hoping for a Saints type comeback, but that would be a pretty tough long shot. I just it was just a disaster all the way around. I mean, the one good thing I saw was the way we started out the game. I mean, having that interception early on, I was like, okay, let's go. But then to again not be able to take advantage, a lot like the Atlanta game, not be able to take advantage of an early turnover. It was just a frustrating game. Hey, quick change of topic though. How do you feel about all the Lions fans in Lambeau? A lot of Honolulu blue.
I've heard that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a team that a lot of Lions fans are finally excited about. I think a lot of people now want to make that trek to Lambeau, especially if they have a good team. People are allowed to do whatever they want with their tickets. I'm not going to judge somebody for trying to make a little extra money or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, you'd like to see less of that, I guess, ideally. But again,
especially in a divisional game.
Yeah,
but
and it is what it is.
Beautiful night. People sold their tickets.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
it
was also a Milwaukee game too. So like sometimes for a Thursday, like, are you going to drive from Milwaukee to Green Bay for a Thursday night game? Try to get back and go to work the next morning. I don't know, but again, I'm not going to judge people for selling their tickets. That's theirs to do with what they want.
The only game I've been to in the last 5 years was last year Thursday, so I'll do it. But yeah, no, good point. Back to the game though. At the beginning of the season, we expected to be hopefully better than 500, but right around 500.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? We're 2-2. And I think you and I both kind of said, we just wanted our losses to look a lot like, not a lot like, but similar to that Atlanta loss, where it was like, okay, we were right there. We missed an opportunity or two. Maybe our quarterback forced something that he shouldn't have, so on and so forth. This game is not how we wanted to see any of our losses. It's really hard for me to look through that game and see too much good there. So to find something good, really, and we'll talk about this next episode. I think this is a great opportunity to see how these guys bounce back, right? So like nothing good happened out of that game, and maybe you'll tell me different. But I think the biggest thing that will help us is okay, great. For the first time, we just got our asses kicked. How do we respond to that? Yep. And I think for a team that's so young, that's going to be a very important lesson to learn. So I don't know. Did you see anything good beyond that?
Beyond that, I mean, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I think if we're looking at a positive, we have to look at Anders Carlson,
Yeah, let's go.
So far, so good. I mean, the guy hasn't missed a kick at all year. Not that he's had a ton of attempts, but I mean, he's 100% so far. And, we can't not be positive about that. So he's been playing well. I mean, he's a rookie. He's going to be a little shaky now and then. He's going to, we may have a game or two that we have an opportunity to win, but he'll miss a field goal and it'll be what it is. But, I guess the positive I'm going to try to take from this game overall is that we got our butts kicked. Everything seemed to go wrong. We have some key players injured. We have kind of a mini bye, so that's kind of a positive. But at the same time, it's like, sometimes you just hope this stuff, when you're going to lose and you lose big, you're kind of like, okay, well, hopefully everything went wrong and we can look at everything and adjust. And maybe there'll be some youthful ignorance on this team being so young and just be able, just with the ability to shake it off and come out focused this next week.
Yep. I love it. Well, Marcus, does that do it for us today, or do you got anything else to add?
No, I think that's probably it. It was a tough one to watch, but these are the growing pains we're going to experience with the young team, and we just have to remember that, I think, moving forward.
Yeah, we're just trying to get this episode done with so we can move on and look forward to the Raiders. Thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the Green and Golden Boys, a Packers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcast service. And as always, Marcus,
go Pack, go.